Hey, good people, how you doing? David Taub here, co-creator of nextlevelguitar.com. Hope all is well, and I hope your guitar journey is going famously. Gonna do something a little different today. I read an article, interesting article in the Washington Post that came out on the 22nd of June, a couple days ago. And I'll put a link to the article below, description box. But basically the article, I want to get the name of it right, was The Death of the Electric Guitar, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. The Slow Secret Death of the Six-String Electric by Jeff Edgers, E-D-G-E-R-S, Edgers? Jeff Edgers. It was in the Washington Post, and this article is flying around the net. And I think this is a good topic for discussion because although I disagree with a lot of the points made in the article, it brings up some good points too, and it brings up, like most of us are aware, there's just an undeniable decline in the use of the guitar and guitar music in, music that charts today. Popular music, right? Guitar solos are almost non-existent, and in many instances, a lot of the stuff that charts, there's no guitar in it at all. The guitar has been replaced very often, and it's been replaced with, synthesizers or plugins or digital music and EDM, electronic dance music is so popular. And what's charting now, the most popular stuff now is very, pop music, of course, and modern country, and very dark kind of electronic music with very effect-laden vocals with virtually no guitar, right? So the guitar has really been taken out of the forefront, and that I think obviously is a main reason that has driven down the sales of guitars. It's how, what's popular. And although if you know my videos, I'm not a fan of a lot of the music that's popular. I think there's a lot of empty musical calories out there, but that's what sells. That's what's popular. A lot of the things, the conclusions that he drew in that article, I kind of disagree with. He draws some very positive correlations between certain things, and I don't think it's that simple. And I think there's a lot more going on than what he states. So I'm going to tell you this video, what I think, right in the comment box below. I want to hear what you guys and gals think. I want to hear your comments. Let's get some discussion going. Put a comment there. Please subscribe, like the video. That really helps us to keep the content going here on Rock On Good People. So if you could subscribe to our channel, put comments, tell your friends. Do I think the electric guitar is dying this death and is going to be gone and buried? Absolutely not. Has it waned in popularity? Absolutely yes. Do they sell as many guitars as they used to? No, they don't. Sales are down. That's all true. But does that mean the instrument's just going to die this day? No, I don't think so at all. And that's why I think the article kind of misses the mark. He kind of draws this parallel between retail sales of guitars declining and lack of guitar heroes, because and this is what some people he interviewed for the article. He walked around NAMM with I think it was Grun Guitars, the owner, who's been in business a very long time, and he's quoting things like, well, we have a lack of guitar heroes and this is what's driving sales down. There's tremendous market saturation, and there's way more manufacturers of gear and instruments that can fulfill the need. So this is on a collision course, and it's going to explode with the death of the guitar. And those straight lines are drawn, right? So in the past decade, he says, guitar sales have gone from 1.5 million to 1 million in the past decade. So yeah, guitar sales are down, definitely. And then he goes on and he talks about how, Gibson has declining revenue, and Guitar Center is 1.6 billion in debt. 1.6 billion, that's not million, that's billion. 1.6 billion in debt, Guitar Center. Guitar Center's been struggling for a long time, right? And so he quotes, and so much of it is focused on the retail end of things and the brick and mortar stores that he really doesn't talk about, like Sweetwater, right? Which everyone you probably know is one of the second largest music retailer, but it's mostly online, through online sales. Whereas they have this one online site, their main facility, I think, is in Indiana, right? Where they ship out of, and they're blowing up. I mean, geez, I was there for their Gear Fest in 2012, and at that time I think they were doing 300 million a year. And then now Sweetwater's doing, I just want to get the figure right. They did 200 in 2015. They did 433 million. 2016 they're up to over 500 million. You're talking double-digit growth, 20% growth every year. I mean, who's buying all this stuff? Now, granted, they're not just selling guitars, right? But Gibson isn't either, right? Quoting how Gibson sales are so declining, but the fact is that only 30-40% of Gibson sales come from guitars. Gibson bought a ton of other stuff. They're big into all kinds of music things, and they bought Philips and Onkyo, and they sell headphones and all this other stuff. And I get that their company Gibson is adapting, right? They're adapting to a changing market, and that's what companies need to do. So he's talking to the music retailer, and they're saying how it's because there's such a lack of guitar heroes today, and that's the problem. That's what's driving down sales of guitars. Well, I would tend to disagree with that, because I think there's tons of guitar heroes out there today, tons of incredible musicians, incredible guitar players. It's just that the music is the rock music, guitar orientated music, technical music is not really in the forefront of what's popular, right? If you look at what charts, whereas back, Eddie Van Halen, they sold a lot of records, they wrote a lot of hit songs, and that was very popular in rock music in the 70s and the 80s, very guitar driven, guitar oriented, and that's just not the case now. So there's tons of guitar. I mean, one could argue, look at players like Guthrie Govan. I mean, he's every bit as technically proficient as Eddie Van Halen. He's probably, that guy, Guthrie, he's incredible. He could play jazz, country, rock. He does it all incredibly. I saw the guy live play. If you can get a chance to go see him play live, just flawless, right? And there's lots of other guys out there, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Zach Wilde. There's tons and tons of guitar hero. Tosin Obasi, I've seen him play live too. Amazing. So I don't think we're lacking guitar heroes at all. I think the music that the guitar is creating is just not in the forefront of what's popular. It's not a lack of guitar technical virtuosity. It's not a lack of guitar heroes, in my opinion. The other thing is when he's talking about these companies like Gibson and other companies that sales are declining, and he's correlating lack of sales of guitars, and that's causing these companies to decline in their overall revenues, and that might be a part of it, but it's a lot more complex than that. Gibson's been plagued with problems for years. They had to sell the company at one point. They've had quality control issues. And don't get me wrong, because I have a Gibson Les Paul custom standard. I play all the time. I love it. But they've been plagued with problems. Companies could be financially, not to say Gibson is, but there could be financial mismanagement. There's market saturation beyond belief now. There's way more issues than just, okay, the public's not buying as many guitars. And there could be tons of issues why a certain company may not be doing as well. Competition with Sweetwater. I think it goes back to, behavior, how times have changed. And this, I think, is the crux where they miss the point too. And that is, the world has changed. It's not the same world as it was in the 70s and 80s when the guitar rock was at its peak, right? But there's always going to be companies going in and out of vogue and in and out of, business. I started my guitar learning, in the 80s and 90s, and I learned teaching myself through magazines like Guitar for the Practicing Musician. And I've saved all those. I have a big collection of all those magazines, right? I refer to them every now and then for lessons and stuff. And if you thumb through them, man, there's page after page of guitar companies that made guitars at that time and effect companies, right, that are no longer in business, right? So this is the cyclical nature. Some of them morph into other things. Sony does not make, cassette tape players anymore, right? They don't make 8-track tape players, right? Adapting, the world is changing. So getting back to my point of, where I think the article missed the mark is because they draw these straight lines between the guitars are not selling, this is why the guitar is dying. And I think the guitar is going down, is declining in popularity, but hitting a level off where it used to be up here, and then there'll be something that will bring it back, and it may not ever get it back to where it was in the 70s, but that's okay, because we go through these cyclical natures with instruments, and the electric guitar is always going to be cool and will always be around. But my contention with the article is these straight correlations that they're drawing, and I think it's a lot more complex. I think you need to look at a lot of things like technology, how the internet, affected everything. You have to look at behavior, how we listen to music, how music is accessible to us, how we purchase, right? Maybe that's something that some of these guitar companies need to look at. How are people purchasing it? It seems to me more people are going online as opposed to going to the brick and mortar stores. I mean, Sweetwater's overhead has got to be incredibly less than having all these brick and mortar stores than um, than like Guitar Center. I'm not saying one's better than the next or judging. I'm just saying this is the current market. This is what it is, and there have been, points brought up by plenty of people that maybe, some companies are a little out of touch with what the consumer, what the players, what the musicians really want, right? So the behaviors, right? As well as how we buy our gear. Maybe some bit of the lowered guitar sales could be because of the used market. Sites like reverb.com, eBay, they seem to be doing well. A lot of people are buying used. And the other thing too is with so much competition and market saturation, I think what happens is it takes the level of product quality and it raises it up a bit. So even the lower end guitars or starter guitars are made really well, much better. And if your company is not making them as well, they're going to fall off and someone else. So the competition is fierce. So people are not upgrading as much with their gear. They're not buying as many guitars, or they're not upgraded. They can hold on to their beginner guitar longer. It's lasting them longer. They're not upgrading into the next level for some time. That could be going into it. There's a lot. How accessible certain music is to us, how we're buying our music, right? How music is created now electronically. All these things go into the music experience, right? And none of that was mentioned, or very little of that was mentioned in this article. The article seemed to just be focused on the one thing, the retail sales. How technology has had its effect on guitar music, and the internet has kind of had its effect also. Home-based recording has gotten so good now, and the software is so powerful and user-friendly, and you can get, GarageBand free with any Mac purchase, right? Any Apple purchase, and there's tons of software recording for PC and Mac, and a lot of them, the synths have gotten so good, and the plugins, and they sound really good. And, instead of learning bass, maybe you're creating beats, right? And I'm not saying one is better than the other. It just is. It's just other options, right? We're kind of morphing this into this whole musical discussion about, what's happening to the electric guitar. So all these things I think are worth mentioning. There's a lot of interest out there. There's lots and lots of interest. So, I don't see the guitar dying. I don't see it going into this, continual death spiral and then falling into a flaming pile of ashes. And it's funny because if you look at the article, in the article they show a picture of a guitar and it's flaming like it's on fire. And, I get it. It's sensationalistic. Yeah, a newspaper or a publication being sensational. What a shocker, right? And if you look online too, with a lot of videos especially, I mean, incredible amount of views people are getting on their gear reviews, guitar reviews, guitar gear reviews, guitar lessons, I mean, just an absolutely unbelievable amount of content out there that is getting an unbelievable amount of views. That tells me a lot of people are interested. Although I'm rambling a little bit, I guess my main points are, is that a lot of things are going into why, the guitar has kind of waned a bit in popularity. And it's not just having to do with retail sales and lack of guitar heroes like they were saying in this so much about this article. And a lot of it, like I said, it's about behaviors. It's about how, the world has changed, what the internet has brought to the table, how we make music, how we listen to music, what we listen to, what's popular, how we find it. There's anyone that I hear a lot of people saying to me all the time, like I ask them, what's going on in the rock? Oh, there's no good rock music out there. There's no good progressive music. I totally disagree with that. There are tons of great rock bands out there. There are tons of great progressive rock bands out there. I find them on YouTube all the time and in videos. You just have to hunt them down and search for them. They're there. They're just not in the forefront. You got to dig deeper, right? I get a magazine, Prague magazine from England, great magazine. And they list out all the new stuff that's coming out in the progressive world. And they have like they always interview people from Prague, even classic bands and modern bands and whatnot. But I find out a lot of bands coming out and a lot of new bands and who's got what coming up by reading that magazine. And then I just go, oh, this band sounds interesting. I pull them up online. I listen to their stuff. I go to their website, buy their CDs, right? And there's tons of great stuff, and that's how I find a lot of great bands. But they have a classic rock magazine like that. They got rock, and there's tons of bands out there. It's just harder and harder to find them because that's not what's popular. That's not what, the industry is pushing in front of you. Hey, it is what it is. This is how the times have changed. And all these things I think have gone into what's going on in guitar music, what's going on in, the art of guitar. But come on, how can anything this beautiful and wonderful and creative tool ever go away, die? It's not going to happen. Put your views, thoughts, feedback below. Let's get some discussion going. And please subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment, hit the like button. Really, really helps us keep the channel going. I'll also put some links in the description box below to our Facebook page. I'll also put some links to maybe some of our free guitar products you might want to try out, some free lessons, free ebooks that we have, and some other stuff. So be sure and check some of that out. I'm David Taub with Next Level Guitar. You're the good people. It's a great topic to talk about. And I will see you in the next lesson. I got a lot of good stuff coming up, so take care and keep rocking.